So this talk is about how we convert from an individual to a team. And before we start, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm trained as a psychologist, and my expertise is in the behavioral design and brain studies. So before I moved to Japan, I worked and studied in the Department of Psychology or Cognitive Sciences. And I was trained to use human behavior, including technophysics method and brain imaging tools to study the human behaviors. In 2006, I moved to Japan and became a member at Tohoku University. And here, I'm a member of Research Institute of Electrical Communication. I started to have the privilege to work with engineering professors and students. So from here, my research line has extended to a more diverse method. And today, what I would like to share with you are a few ongoing projects that concerns about how we know each other. So the world has changed very fast in the past decades, and the technology now has shortened the physical distance. If you want to travel to a foreign country, now you take hours. If you want to see someone, you can just click on the video phone call and that will become possible. But with the technology's assistance, do we really know people better? Do we really express ourselves better? Or can we come to a mutual understanding easier? The answers are not so promising. And this kind of study have a lot of application values and then the urgent needs. I'll give you an example. For example, the past robot design has helped a lot of factories and plants. They reduce the human labor by providing the machinery power. But what do we need in that future society is beyond the labor saving robots. What we will need is a machine that understands us, that comforts us, that alleviates from sufferings. So this kind of social robot design actually depends heavily a lot on our understanding of human beings. Another example is the Homeland Security. Right now in the airport, we scan luggages and searching for weapons and metals. In the next generation, what we will need to do, maybe just scan the human brain or decode the potential of threats from the behavior signals. And of course, we are having this online symposium right now. And how am I communicating with you? This is another new topic that emerging in recent years. So I approach those big questions with a few methods. Today, I want to talk about how we use brain sciences to study this question. And also I want to share with you a few ongoing projects that expanding to a wider range of methods that may be interesting. So I want to first talk about a very interesting psychological state, and we call it flow. So flow state is a very nice psychological state. When we are in the flow, we don't feel the time. We enjoy ourselves very much, and then we want to continue doing it. And probably you have similar experiences. That usually happens when you do something you enjoy, maybe reading a book, watching a movie, playing video games, or simply just engage yourself in something that you super enjoy. And there are a lot of interesting psychological reports about the flow state. In recent years, it connects with the well-being of a human. What is very interesting is flow happens when we work alone, as well as when we work with a group of people. Here are some examples when you play team sports or when you play ensemble performance, a group of musicians, or simply teamwork. Sometimes individual members feel, wow, I really belong to the team. Now we are thinking together. So this moment from I to we is a magic moment because it often associated with better performance and sometimes a very high team satisfaction. So for brain scientists, what is interesting is what exactly is team flow in the brain? Is it just equal to social brain? Does it activate the brain areas that we already know that it has a lot of social implications? Or is it just the same kind of neural representation when we are in the flow individually? So this question kind of interests us, and then we designed a study to examine this individual flow. So this is the method we use. We have two subjects in the lab and play this video game together. Right now is the synchronized condition in which video game and music are synchronized. And now this is when the music does not match the game. We scramble the music. It's very disturbing, very difficult to enter flow. So we have these two music conditions because the most challenging part of the experiment is how to create a flow state for two people at the same time. And this turned out to be challenging because what I enjoy most may not be what you enjoy most. So video game turned out to be a good, quick method to bring people into this flow state. And to really make it a proper experiment, we have to have several conditions later for comparison. For example, the most critical condition is this team flow. That is when two people are playing a video game and at the same time enjoy it simultaneously, etc. So this is what we try to include. The other one is, they have social companion from each other. They are a team, they sit next to each other, but it's hard to enter the flow zone. And we do that by scramble the songs so that the song does not match the display and make it very difficult to enjoy it. So you're constantly distracted, but in this case, we have a social team member there. We also have a no team. That is, we put a divider between them so that they don't see each other. And in this case, you probably can enter flow by yourself, but there's no team perception. So as a psychologist, we contributed to create this scenario, to create this psychological state so that we can later to record their brain responses. So this is a photo in the lab. So we have two people playing a video game together that on iPad, and then each of them wear this EEG cap, which connected to the recording here. So their brain activities are being recorded simultaneously. And later we can match these brain states together with the behavioral states. So this is how the result look like. This is the brain activity, the heat map. The red color represents the high activation zone. Okay, so you can see in the different conditions, when we have a team flow, we have a lot more activation in the brain than when we're in the team condition or individual flow zone only. And if we analyze the data based on the frequency, this is the frequency map, it's also clear to see that these three conditions, this is the team flow condition, and this is a team only and flow only, have a very different energy profile. We discover that when we are in the team flow, the brain activates more beta and then gamma power than the other two. Okay, so this is a very interesting signature profile it just helps us to give us some confidence that, okay, we have created a very unique behavior state. This is our analysis on the brain areas to look at the activation. So we found one area that is particularly important for team flow, and this is the middle temporal cortex. Okay, so this is a brain map about the activation areas. And you can see that this middle temporal cortex, okay, has a very close correlation with the team flow, and it does not respond to other conditions. And if we try to recreate the information path between different kind of brain regions, then this is what you can see. Okay, during team flow, there is a lot more information, communication, talks between brain areas than the other two conditions. And if you visualize it with the heat map, you can see team flow activated more brain activity than the other two conditions. And it says that this target area that we are curious, the middle temporal cortex, actually is information hub. It takes and integrates information from other brain areas to compute. So this is a summary map of what happens during the experiment. You can see a lot of brain areas are involved. And then the most interesting thing is that for two people, the two team members here, there's one area that synchronizes. And this synchronization is corresponding to their reported team flow state. Okay, so you can see that there's a high correlation on synchrony and then their perceived state. So this is a summary map. So we know that there are areas that's involved when we work as a team. So this is the team area or social brain area. We also know there's a brain area when we are in the flow zone. Okay, the team flow has a different brain site. Okay, that's left the middle temporal cortex. That's really important and activated during the team flow. So in this study, we use the behavior study and then with the brain recording, and we are able to conclude that we have a unique brain state. Okay. To predict this team flow. And once we mark this important area, then there's a lot of application. You can use these brain area activities to detect or explain how the team members are working at a certain condition. In addition of this type of study, we also use different kind of methods. For example, how synchronized we are in motor representation. And I want to tell you about a study. So in this study, we measure the walking step synchronization. So if we have this motion sensor and then connect it with the participants, then it will record the step acceleration of the two people. And with these two recording signals, we can compute the synchronization of the two people. And it turned out that from how synchronized the two people are, we can tell a lot about their relation. For example, how much they like each other, how sociable they are. We can even tell their age, their gender, and their personality. And of course, all these are stored in the brain. So by looking at this pattern, we actually can be informed about a lot of individual information and then a lot of the social information as well. We also study behavior synchronization. For example, emotional synchronization. So one of the example is yawning. It's very interesting that sometimes we yawn when we see other people or when we hear other people or when we think about other people yawning. So this contagious yawning is very universal. And then we found out that people who have more likelihood to catch a yawn contagiously are actually those people who are more sociable, who like to engage socially, will be more likely to have this behavioral synchronization. So I want to mention a few ongoing studies that we apply different kind of machine learning or the potential to use it. The first the project we include is to study how remote team, that is, if the team members are not meeting physically, how that affects the team performance. The second is we study how human and robot can create a good team. And today I will talk about these two. And of course, we can expand it to different kind of species and how they work together. The first study we try to do is to decode the communication effectiveness in real and in virtual. For example, this is a recent study that we conducted. A lot of Zoom meetings these days, if you make a recording of a Zoom meeting, are we able to tell which team or which group or which individuals in a group feel more together than others? So there are two meetings right now on the left and on the right. I think probably most people will agree that the group in the right probably have a higher chance to feel like a team. Okay, but why? What makes we feel that way? And is this feeling correct? So we designed an experiment to have invite people to come into a Zoom meeting, and we recorded the meeting. During the meeting, we gave them tasks to do. And then before and after, we measured their impression about each other and their feelings about the group. And what we did was we analyzed the video recording. We analyzed the faces, the expressions by individual muscles. And then we tried to see if we can find these action units that predicts their perceived feeling about individual members and then the group members. The second example is how do we make a robot a better teammate? Can human work with robot as effective as human, or even better? So we designed a human-robot social experiment. We invite a human participant to come into the lab and then assigned a robot as a partner, a teammate. And this human and robots need to complete a task together on the computer. And we did a lot of manipulation about the robot. Either the robot is very needy, or the robot is very independent, or the robot is very knowledgeable. And then they have to finish this computer task together. And we measure how human-robot interaction differs from human-human. Another example that we are working on is how do we use movement to tell and then to understand each other. So in the lab, we have this motion capture system, which allowed us to record the movement of multiple individuals. And then with the recorded, these recordings, we will be able to understand how and where the movement actually provides communication signals. And with this kind of data, we can also compare different kind of cultural groups, different kind of age groups, different kind of gender groups, how they understand each other from the body movement. Okay, so these are two professional dancers, and they are given the instruction to perform a scenario. And as an audience, we watched and then try to see what they're trying to tell us. And you may be surprised to find out that actually we are pretty good at understanding just from these simple movements. Okay, to summarize, today we talk about how as a psychologist and brain scientist, we use the behavioral method and then brain imaging tools to study how an individual converts into a team member. And this study has a lot of potential because it helps us to understand how we can create a more productive team. And also it can inform us of how we should design a robot that satisfies human social needs. And there are a lot of potential directions to do. If you're interested, please contact me and maybe we can work on something interesting together. Thank you.